Hare Krishna,
Hare
Navya.
Krishna.
So, as you know, we decided to have this casual talk, you can say like a banter, just conversations about bhakti yoga, about devotional or spiritual practices, about Krishna consciousness. So, today is a very good day to start because it's Mother's Day. So, thanks for doing it with me. And I'm hoping that this type of tete-to-tete will be very helpful for people. They will like this type of casual conversation. So we'll just discuss some things, questions, and just get to know more about deep aspects of this philosophy with casual conversation and see what comes up. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So go ahead. So I was going to ask you a couple things. Of course, today is Nursing Chaturdashi also. Happy Nursing Chaturdashi. And we have a program in the evening today. Um, as a child, I'm curious about this because I did not come into this Krishna consciousness as a child. So I often want to know how you feel about this whole practice. What's your take on this? So every other weekend or so, we have some program or some festival that we are celebrating. And today is one such festival and a home program. What do you like about these? Don't you feel that you should go out and play with your friends or just hang out with them? Stuff like that. I'm just curious because I never did this growing up. What do you think about this?
I still have a lot of time to play with my friends, but especially I feel more lucky than discouraged to ha come into Krishna consciousness because there's so much more things to do. Otherwise, on weekends, you're just sitting around wondering what to do. And it's just something really nice. I feel bad for you that
You feel
you
bad for
didn't
me?
come into it earlier.
Yeah, I feel bad for myself too that I didn't come into it earlier. I wasted a lot of years of my human life actually. And Prahlad Maharaj says this in seventh canto Srimad Bhagavatam that human life is very short. He actually gives a complete breakdown of human life.
Yeah, he says how long we sleep and eat.
Right. So why do you I noticed you said that you feel very lucky. So why do you feel so lucky about being in this process on this path?
I feel like I have um more chance to experience things, to learn things, and it gives all the answers that we don't see in our lives, in our material science or things like that.
Okay.
It's a deeper view into life, and also sometimes you're just wondering what you're doing here, and then answers all that stuff.
Hmm.
Makes Also makes me more excited to keep going with everything.
Okay. What do you like about these programs? Is there certain aspect, like, in the programs we have kirtan, we have class, we have prasadam, often there is cake cutting. What else? Of course, meeting with devotees and just talking with them. Arti is there,
Kirtan.
singing. What do you like the best?
It's really hard to say, but I think my favorite is hearing the classes and of course Prasad. But especially if it's something story related. But even if it's philosophy, I just like absorbing all that. Kirtan's also really nice, but I like having something actually like I don't know, but
Some
something,
substance, it gives the
yeah.
substance to the process. So is this, I know you said class, you like this philosophy. Isn't this a lot of heavy philosophy? It's
It's
because philosophy is typically not even something that adults relish.
it I'm not sure I'm that much into the philosophy, but even that I feel like it is a lot sometimes and you just forget. But I think, as I said, it gives a deeper view into things. So I really like it explaining everything. Um,
Hmm.
just the feel.
So
And then
this knowledge, oh, go ahead, sorry.
what's your favorite part? I know you
Oh,
go to a lot of
um,
programs.
about Kirtan, different, it just gives me an opportunity to serve devotees in different ways, participating in Kirtan. So first and foremost for me, it is service opportunity, which is very rare. And if one gets to serve the Lord and his devotees, I think that's very important use of human life, that is the perfection of human life. So for me that's the best thing, so I try to serve in all aspects of the program. If whether it's kirtan, singing along or following, or class, typically that's my main service. But even if I'm not giving the class, if I'm hearing, I'm try to hear very attentively and jot down important points. And then prasadam seva, very important seva, whether honoring the prasadam, eating the prasadam, or serving the prasadam to other devotees, or cooking the prasadam, all those. So I like all aspects of it. I think maybe the kirtan is my favorite, because I'm not during class. It's a little bit of anxiety for me because I'm the one giving the class. But kirtan, I can be just completely immersed, and you let your emotions flow, and your heart is immersed in the melody, the tune, the words, the music. Instruments are playing, so I'm very free, and feel my heart connected to Krishna at that time. So that I think I relish the most.
Yeah, I feel that too sometimes, just not as much.
Okay, yeah. Um, I was gonna ask you before. So, this as a child, again, I'd like to get this perspective from you. This knowledge helps you in your school life, dealings with your friends or teachers, or when you go do extracurricular activities on a daily basis. Is there some value to this?
It definitely helps me, especially with my friends and how I deal with them, because often, especially since there's so much going on right now and I'm about to go into middle school, my friends are a little bit worried about what they're gonna do in all their sports. So sometimes indirectly, I find out that these words, if I say them a bit indirectly, it really helps them and it'll make
Mm.
them feel less worried about themselves. But also in the actual school part, it sometimes can be a bit contradicting, like our material science versus our spiritual science. It can go against each other sometimes.
Oh, yes, that's right. Well, can you give me an example? Like what, I'm sure you come up with that a lot, because I also face that conflict between material science and spiritual science, like what Bhagavatam is saying about our world, material world, versus what we have learned in the science books. It can be at contrast or contradictory. What conflict have you faced that recently, let's say lately, that you were trying to reconcile?
Um, there's a lot of things, but one of the main things lately I've been learning about space science,
Okay.
and especially with our different views of the whole solar system versus the material and spiritual world,
Hmm.
and how in our material science we learned that the sun is a star that the earth orbits around. But in our spiritual science, we learned that there's Surya Dev who orbits the earth. Just two
So,
completely different things.
okay, I get it. Okay, very, very interesting. So you're saying that Bhagavatam is saying that there is a sun god, there is Surya Dev, and he is on his chariot, going around, all right? And our science books are saying that the planets are going around the sun.
Yeah.
So it's reverse, completely opposite. Is that what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's
Understand your
completely different.
okay. Uh, okay, I let me try see if I can reconcile some of this. The again, my understanding is not very complete either, but how I reconcile some of these scientific, material science and spiritual science subject matters. For example, this one that you posed. So, it's not that either of them is wrong. This is what I feel about it. I think both of them are correct. But spiritual science, we have to understand, is coming from the Supreme Lord Himself. So it is absolute, it is ultimate reality. So whatever is given in Srimad Bhagavatam is coming from Krishna, the Creator Himself. So that he has the supreme authority, his authority, his words cannot be denied. So that we take as the absolute truth. We take as the ultimate truth. Knowing that, keeping that as foundation, material science, whereas can be somewhat faulty, we also understand that, like Prabhupada says in so many books, Science of Self-Realization, because the instruments with which we measure things, with which we experiment, with which we find out these things, are those instruments are faulty. On top of that, our senses with which we interpret the results are faulty. And then people are very faulty with their intentions. They're very error prone. They come up with a lot of logics and conclusions based on their imperfect understanding. So their intelligence is very limited, right? And sometimes their intentions are not correct either. They may be fulfilling some agenda that they have. Regardless, so we know that material science can keep changing. What you know today to be true may not be true after a few years. There may be more understanding added to it, or the current understanding may be completely refuted and changed to something completely different. So these are the two facts we have to know. And then what I think about this is, like sun god, example of sun god. So I think I take it like this. Just bear with me for a few minutes. Is that okay? Huh?
Yeah.
Um, for example, let's say I'm walking on the street. Somebody sees me walking. They will see a lady and they will think that, okay, she's not Caucasian. Maybe she's Asian. Maybe she's Indian. Maybe she's Pakistani. Maybe she's Sri Lankan. I don't know. Maybe she is Chinese or Japanese. So they're just, coming up with some assumptions in their mind about me. Looking at her, it looks like she would maybe have an Indian or Asian type of accent. And looking at her, and they can see my dress. So based on my dress, they may say maybe she belongs to this particular religion. Maybe I'm wearing a white coat, and they'll say, okay, she looks like maybe she's a doctor. So that's a very superficial understanding from that person because he's looking at me and coming up with various assumptions or interpretations about me based on previous perceptions, right? Then the next level of understanding would be if they came to me and they started talking to me. So they will realize, oh, actually, um, uh, and I'll tell them I'm Indian. So they'll all their other understandings will be refuted. Okay, she's Indian. Now they know more about me. And she's wearing white coat, but she's not a doctor. She's, let's say, a nurse. And she does not have Indian accent. Actually, she's American. She's born in America. And even though she's dressed like this, actually she's Christian. She's not Hindu. We thought she might be Hindu, but she's actually Christian. So a lot of their assumptions, interpretations they had about me based on their superficial understanding will now be refuted because they have more intimate connection with me. They talk to me, but I'll still not reveal my heart to them. So they may go to my some loved one if they want to know more about me. They may go to my, let's say you, to my daughter or to my husband or to my friend, and they say, tell us more about her. And then you will reveal more. You will say, her favorite food is this, her favorite music is this, her favorite color is this, favorite sport is this, favorite book, movie is this. This is what irritates her. This is what pleases her. This is what puts her in a bad mood. This is what puts her in a good mood. So many things you will be able to reveal. So this is next layer of understanding. So they are getting more and more revelations based on deeper they go to the source. And then let's say I decide to share my heart with them, then I can give them even more deeper understanding because I can share my confidential secrets with them, my emotions with them, my heartfelt, what my fears, my weaknesses, things that nobody knows about them, but now I reveal to them. So in this way, we see there are so many layers of understandings. So I think the material science gives us a very superficial understanding based on very limited intelligence and faulty instruments with which we measure things. So we only get the understanding that is very, you know, uh, open to interpretation and can change eventually. and we use that information for our purposes, like information about sun we use to make solar energy, or to tap sun's energy for our windmills, or various ways we use sun's energy for crops and plants, and solar houses are there, so many things. um, but if you want deeper layers of understanding, then I think you have to go more and more to the source, which is given in our scriptures. So I don't think either understanding is faulty. I think the material understanding is just more superficial. There is sun god, but this the material science gives us only the bodily understanding of the sun god, just about the soul, about the sun globe itself, and not about the spirit soul, the jiva, the devata that sun god is. But the scriptures are not concerned so much with bodily matters, right? So they don't tell us so much about the sun globe. They tell us more about the sun god himself, what pleases him, who are his devotees, how should he be worshipped, those kind of things. So I think with material science we can know the superficial bodily aspect of things, but not really know the heart of the matter or the spirit of the matter. Just like
Okay.
yeah. Does it make sense? I don't.
Basically, they can be together, not completely contradicting each other. They
Yes. Yes,
they
I don't think they
both
need to
be
be
true.
separated.
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah,
Yeah, so my take on this is that both though they cannot be divorced from each other. We don't need to say one is completely incorrect and one is completely correct. We know that spiritual science is definitely correct, and material science may have some partial understanding, and we use it as much as is needed for our purpose. But we don't need to divorce them, dichotomize them, and we take them hand in hand. So I wouldn't go tell your teacher that, hey, our scriptures say this and your understanding what sun is wrong.
yeah, that's not gonna work out well.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. So you use that because that's all we know from material science, only bodily, superficial uh, understanding. So we use that. And that is useful, right? We all these things we know about sun, for example, is useful. We use it for so many things in our life.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that does not mean that there is no sun god and he's not riding on his chariot. Didn't you read about this in one of your
yeah. That's what.
Greek
That's
books?
where my question originally came up.
Can you tell me more about that? Where did you read it and what was?
I've been reading Greek mythology, Percy Jackson, and they also have a similar understanding
Mhm.
of their sun gods doing the same thing.
Does he also ride on a chariot?
Yeah, he also rides on a chariot, and goes around. And then also by the same author, Egyptian mythology
Hmm.
also has something similar.
So Egyptian and Greek understanding, which are completely different faiths, they also have this same understanding about gods, huh?
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, these are all very ancient civilizations, Greeks and Egyptians, and so that tells you that ancient people were closer to the actual source of the knowledge. We are typically in material world, we are mostly concerned with how to use the Lord's creation, so we just use our experiments to tap into Lord's energies and creation for our purpose, and so that's all we know. But this is a different level of understanding in scriptures, and I like to find more about that, and I relish that actually.
yeah,
So did that answer something? And I again, whatever I said, this is not
right.
um, very accurate either, but this is how I reconcile it in my head, that both are going hand in hand, and material science is not completely incorrect either, but it may evolve as Lord reveals. And Krishna gives intelligence to even the scientists. So if they are coming up with something, they are also getting that knowledge from Krishna. But there are many wonderful devotees and speakers in ISKCON who may have more to say about this and can take you deeper into this context, this material and spiritual science. You
Yeah,
like to listen to some, right? Some.
yeah. My fa- I like all of them, but I think some of my favorites are Mugdala Prabhu and Amrita Prabhu because like funny and then also very nice style of speaking, especially.
Amoglila Prabhu and Amrendra Prabhu, you said?
Yeah.
I, it's very amazing to me that you like to listen to Amoglila Prabhu because he has a very first of all his classes mostly in Hindi, right?
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Not yeah, but so you understand Hindi
Yeah, I
classes?
understand Hindi classes, but more, not as much of should Hindi, but uh the basics.
Hmm. Okay. So which one of his do you like?
Um, I'm actually I like his Mahabharat, Ramayana, and Prabhupada Lilamrit series,
Okay.
but especially I love the Prabhupada Lilamrit. Just one of my favorite series lectures. Listen
Wow.
to them over and over again.
Really? More than Ramayana and Mahabharata?
Yeah. Um,
Oh, amazing.
I feel like it's just so nice to hear Prabhupada's how he went through failure after failure after failure. And then when he came to America, he went through some more failures. And then he finally got this wonderful ISKCON movement and spread it very simply too, not with a lot of people, not with a lot of money, just with bhakti.
Amazing. I would think that a child, because you're 11,
Yeah.
um, at your age, I was reading Secret Seven and Famous Five, and or maybe I had evolved to Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys or some books like that. So this is, but at your age, reading Prabhupada's or hearing Prabhupada's pastimes, Prabhupada's activities, and relishing them more than Ramayana and Mahabharata is very unique to me. It's hard for me to grasp that type of attraction you have. But that is the mood. I mean, that is if someone can develop attraction and affinity to Prabhupada and his disciples and their pastimes, their activities, that is actually very wonderful. So Prabhupada's pastimes you like hearing more. Have you read any books about his? Because there are so many memoirs and biographies also.
Not as much as I hear things about him, but also I have read a few. Uh, there's this series called Memories, and it has the memories of his disciples of Prabhupada, and it has short and sweet memories of whatever he did, his whole exchanges, and I've been reading a few of those.
Memories that has many parts to it, right? There are
Yeah,
many. Okay,
it
there's
has
several
many,
books,
yeah, many separate books.
several volumes or books. Okay, so you've read a few of those books, huh?
Yeah, not all of them, just a few.
Few. Okay, so that's what you like to read,
Mhm.
memories.
And then you've also been reading a lot of Prabhupada's books. I know that. So, do you have
Yes.
a special favorite other than Bhagavad Gita, of course?
Okay, so are you talking about the
Like,
Prabhupada's biographies and memoirs or the books
or
written by him?
his written by?
Written by him, okay. Yeah, I love, okay, so other than big books, of course, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita are the main ones. But I think you're talking about other than those.
Yeah,
Is it
little small books.
small books? I love Prabhupada's small books. And we go for book distribution. So it was his instruction that we should all read them. So I've been systematically reading them. And I have read this one in the past, but I recently reread it. It's called Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. I simply love that book because and that's where this came from because that was also a conversation between a devotee who was not a devotee then. He was a Peace Corps missionary worker in India, Bob Cohen, and he had a conversation with Prabhupada, which was very nourishing to him. And that book is a compilation of his conversation um, in Mayapur. Actually, I really love that book. All Prabhupada's books, small books, big books, everything is very nourishing. But small books, especially, I feel like connect to Prabhupada even more because his direct words and language, which makes me feel as if I'm sitting next to him and he's talking to me. So I like that. I feel like personal guidance, as if he's talking to me. And as far as memoirs and biographies are concerned, I've not read memories that much, but I have read, of course, Leela, but the another one that I really like is the Miracle on Second Avenue, which is by Mukund Goswami Maharaj.
Heard about
So this was by Mukund Goswami. He is one of the very early disciples of Prabhupada when Prabhupada came to US and had not even established ISKCON yet. So it was in 1965 or early 1966 when he met Prabhupada. And it starts from his life before meeting Prabhupada, and then how he came in touch with Prabhupada, and how he kept serving him, and how he became very devout to the movement and to Prabhupada. And he was one of the 6 people that actually went to the 3 couples that went to London to start the Krishna consciousness movement there. So I really liked that initial struggle, those initial disciples' allegiance to Prabhupada, their faith, their loyalty towards Prabhupada. It's very sweet, tender exchanges with Prabhupada that I really like to read about, hear about. So that's what that book covers. And their initial struggles in London, starting completely new. There is no support, there is no funds, there is no foundation or understanding of what to do and how to do, and they're just sort of winging it, much like how we are winging it here in Jackson, Memphis community. But that I love to read that struggle in London that they had. So all those things, and there are many other books. There is a book by Yamuna Mataji. So Life of Unalloyed Devotion, I believe, something like that. May not be remembering the name right, but that is, I think, a 2-volume book. So I've read that a while back. I really loved it. But yeah, so I think we can maybe stop for today, unless you have any burning questions. But I think we'll make it a weekly, just a casual banter conversation back and forth. And did you like this?
definitely. It definitely answered my question. Every time I hear or see something like that, it always goes deeper.
Yeah, I like to explore what, things that you like about this, because we do things, programs, and we read, and we are doing so many things, but it's nice to know your perspective on what you like, and what keeps you going, what keeps you moving on this path. So thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for sharing that question about the sun, and that was very, I think, helpful. Okay, we'll again do something like this next week. Thank you, Navya, for joining. Maybe your dad will also like to join sometime, and we can have discussion with him. We can also have some other senior devotees at times to have some lively discussions like this with us. Thank you so much for joining on this Mother's Day on Narsingh Chaturdashi, 2 important occasions today. Vancha kaltarubhischa kripa sindhuve vacha patitanam pavanebhyo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Namaste. Hari Bol.